back. So I'm here with my special guest, Rob Bradford. He covers the Red Sox for WEEI in Boston. Also has his own podcast, the Baseball Isn't Boring podcast. He has a book with his co-author, Joe Kelly. The book is called A Damn Near Perfect Game. Rob, good to see you out in California.
Oh, man. The highlight of being here is seeing you, seeing Bleedlos, got everybody. This is one of the highlights. It's so awesome coming to LA, and I walk in. It's not everywhere I get a chance to walk in, the gate, and then I look to the right. And I'm like, oh, there's a mural of my co-author, a 30-foot high mural of my co-author up on the wall. So yeah, it's just a great place.
So Rob, once I saw you, I'm like, oh, this would be a perfect time just to kind of ask you some questions. I don't know if it's died down, but I remember a couple of weeks ago there was some rumors of, you guys got Walker Buehler this year in Boston. There was already some rumors, speculation that, hey, if Boston's out of it, good landing spot will get Walker Buehler back in LA. I mean, first off, is Boston? What do you think? I mean, when I look today, they're like 4 or 5 back in the AL West.
Yeah.
They're right in the wild card. So, do you think at any point they would become a seller where they move somebody?
I mean, I think they could be, but right now there would be buyers. I mean, I think they're one of the wild card teams. They're playing really. I think they've won 10 of the last 13 as we sit here. But really, we don't know. I mean, things could turn for the worse. We've seen that already happen with some teams. And if they do end up being sellers, Walker Buehler would probably be at the top of the list. They have a lot of guys on one-year deals that would probably bring back something. Everyone knows with Walker, he's had a little bit of an up and down year, but still there's something I think to be said for if you have a guy who's healthy, which he feels he is now, a guy who is going to perform on the big stage. That's the type of guy that you want to get at a deadline. But as we sit here right now, I think they view him as more of the solution to their own problems. And really, especially after the Devers chaos, the Devers trade, everybody in that organization is pedal to the metal to make sure that they aren't sellers, because if they are sellers, then the Rafael Devers stuff comes up all over again. So right now, no, but you never know.
So speaking of Devers, what happened with that?
We don't have enough time. So it was one of the most complicated sort of things, certainly trades, that I've ever been part of. And I said that to an executive. I said, wow, there's so many different aspects of this. We could go back to spring training where Devers said, I'm not going to play anything but third. Then they dig in. They said, all you have to do is DH. And then he DHs, and then they want him to work out at first, and he won't do it. There's a lot of other stuff to go with it. But I said, listen, this is complicated. And the person said, no, it really isn't that complicated. He wasn't being a positive element of a team, which he wasn't, like in that respect. He was. But in terms of all the other stuff, the cloud that was hanging over their head, and if that's the case, you got to turn it over. And you don't see those sort of trades really at the trade deadline, never mind June, but that's what it came to. They just felt we have to turn this over if we are going to make this team the best team that we can be, and we have confidence that the guys will step up, that we're going to be able to get the right guys back to help us, and Kyle Harrison and Jordan Hicks, and we're going to be able to use the money for the trade deadline acquisitions. So that's, again, it's a very complicated answer to a very complicated question, but ultimately it's just something that we'll never forget, because you just don't have those sort of trades anyway, never mind a trade like that in the middle of June.
Yeah. I mean, and what makes it interesting, right, for Dodgers fans, he got traded to San Francisco. So now, he signed a long-term contract not too long ago. So I mean, the Dodgers are going to be seeing him for many years to come. So just as a player, what does Rafael Devers bring to that San Francisco team?
Listen, for San Francisco's point of view, it's a great trade. It's a great trade. Number one, he's already doing the stuff that he wouldn't do in Boston, And to this point, heading into this year, he was a good teammate. He was a good guy, and I think he was getting some advice and going down a road that maybe was unfortunate. But San Francisco has ended up with a guy who's working out at first, doing post-game interviews, which he wasn't doing before. But most importantly, they got a guy who is just a rarest of rare hitters. And I think for Dodgers fans, that's the thing that I would be wary of, because the Giants had already been a good team. Now you drop in Devers, who was one of the best hitters in the game. That's not hyperbole. That's just a fact. And that makes the Giants a team that was already in it. How can you not look at this as a shot across the bow for the entire American League West? Does it make them better than the Dodgers, the Padres, the Mets, the Phillies? We'll see. I mean, I think it comes down to pitching. But boy, I mean, this was the type of acquisition where you just say, that's a game changer, and it's going to be a game changer for the next 8 years, I think.
Yeah, and there was a lot of talk about, recently Dodgers Giants. That's the legacy rivalry right now. He's there with the Giants. Yeah. They just played the Padres. There's been a lot of talk about that's the rival. I feel like now this is gonna. I think it's gonna hype up that Dodgers Giants rivalry a little bit more, because we haven't really seen it since you have to go back a little bit with the Max Muncy stuff, with the Bumgarner and then the Puig stuff.
Yeah.
Kind of, I guess at 21, they finished both at the top. So we haven't seen it for a couple of years. You think it's going to come back?
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think that when you also have signature players, it helps, right? The Dodgers have, they have a boatload of signature players. The Padres have a boatload of signature players. The Giants were this team where they were successful, but it was like, how are they doing this? It wasn't necessarily like, oh my goodness, they have these guys who you're going to pay a ticket to come see. No, they got a lot of good players. Buster Posey has done a great job of putting that together. Bob Melvin has done a great job of managing it. But now when you bring in a player like Devers, I think that what that does is that's the type of player where you talk about rivalries. When the Dodgers play the Giants, they can put it up on the big TV screen or whatever it is. Here come the Giants and Rafael Devers. Much like with the Dodgers. Like, here come the Dodgers and Ohtani and Freeman and Betts. So I think that changes the dynamic. And also, I think puts the Giants on people's radar a lot more. Fair or not, that's just a reality. You get a star player, all of a sudden, you take it up a notch.
So, obviously, a little bit of rivalries, right? Red Sox, Yankees.
Yeah.
You've seen that for many years. Like I mentioned, you saw the Padres come to town. I want to know, from your perspective, looking at it from outside, when you see the Dodgers Padres, is that like, a real rivalry, or is it just kind of for the moment?
No, I think it's a real rivalry. I think that you go back to, even last year, anytime you get some good back and forth when it comes to words. Now, the little kerfuffle they had the other day, the managers get into it, but it's not like there was these players throwing punches or what. I mean, I think that as things get heated more and more and more, like for instance, if they go after each other in the postseason, then you're going to see back and forth along the lines of what you saw. I mean, let's not forget the Padres. And I kept saying this even after, they lost some key players. The Padres are the team, everyone, even the Dodgers, are saying they were the best team. Like, they were the best team that the Dodgers faced. Once they beat the Padres, they're like, all right, we got it. So that hasn't gone away. The Dodgers know that. The Padres know that they have something to prove. And when you have that dynamic and then it's just a couple hours away, that makes for a great rivalry. I think it's, I mean, I don't, in this world of baseball, Roger, in this world of baseball rivalries, it's at the top of the list.
So I'm gonna end it with this. Obviously during this series, I saw a lot of fans on, where's Joe Kelly when we need Joe Kelly?
Yeah.
I mean, I think Joe would enjoyed that series.
Yeah, he sure would have. Yeah, I mean, I think that, it's funny because you see bullpens run in from the bullpen during these get-togethers, and for the most part, the bullpens are like, really, we got to run in. I mean, Joe, as we know, well documented. If something like that's coming on, he's doing a 4.40 and diving on in, and so he's obviously not going to be afraid if something needs to be taken care of when it comes to plunking somebody or whatever. he's not going to be afraid to do it. He's not going to be afraid to have the ramifications of it. He's not going to be. He understands it's part of the game, and that's a tricky thing. I think for young players, everyone knows that this is part of the game, right? But I've seen players get up there and they have to do it, and they just can't. And there is an element of value to have that guy. There's a reason, Roger, why every time something like that happens, everyone goes on social media and says, like, you could just do a search. Where's Joe? Where's Joe? Where's Joe? So, yeah, hey, listen, maybe by the end of the year, we could be talking here in October and said, can you believe that Joe Kelly was in the middle of that, where he was before in June when this happened, he was coaching his kid? A lot of time to go before that story's been told.
So Joe's told us a couple of times that Dodgers are bust.
Yeah.
Have you heard anything from Joe? What kind of where he's at right now?
Yeah, he's managing lawsuits when it comes to youth baseball. Parents coming out of the stands and punching him. But no, I think that he's throwing a little bit, working out. He's gonna see where he's at, health-wise, how he feels, and if everything's a go. I mean, this is I'm not giving any spoilers, and it's the Dodgers are bust, and he doesn't want to move anywhere. And I think for the Dodgers, if they do think he's healthy, they know his medicals, then why not, right? Like, why not take a chance on him and see where it goes? And yeah, so again, like I said, I mean, I think that story's yet to be told.
Yeah, and if you don't know what Rob's referring to with Joe Kelly and the lawsuits, go listen to the latest.
Yeah, Baseball's and More. Yeah.
Podcast. He talks with Joe Kelly. It's a crazy story. I mean, one I've never heard. It's just crazy about youth sports that you got to check out.
It's in a nutshell. Joe's in a championship game with his 9-year-old travel ball team, and Joe, they're up, they're winning. Parent comes out of the stands and bops Joe, as Joe said, bops me in the forehead, bops the other coach in the forehead. They keep playing. Then at the end of the game, Joe's team wins by 5, and they complain. They protest the game because they said that their pitcher pitched one out to me. There's so many elements of it, everything that's wrong with youth sports, and Joe does a really good job of articulating of like how chaotic and how this should be an example of like we got to get a grip on this stuff. Anytime you have a parent coming out and hitting anyone, never mind Joe Kelly, it's not a good thing.
Awesome. I appreciate your time as always, Rob. Have fun in LA, and we'll see you down the road.
All right, you're one of the best. Appreciate it.